This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com.
Hey everybody, it's your old pal Rob. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite game systems that I've ever played. Now, since the very beginning of this channel, I have been a huge fan ever since I went to Huracan. It was almost 10 years ago, somewhere in there. And I saw this game, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever saw. And I ended up buying the original copy from a vendor that was there, and I paid whatever. And I brought it home and started playing it, and I just never stopped. Well, I eventually got to meet Mark Walker of Flying Pig Games, and we turned out to be pretty good friends. Now, as they have gone through time, we've had Armageddon War. We've had so many beautiful, tremendous games from just a fantastic company. He's also employed some of the brightest minds on the planet by having Herman Luttman, Shane Logan, who is another one, and I can go on and on with the people that have been associated with this fantastic company. Well, Volume 4 of Old School Tactical, the Italian Theater, 1943 to 1945. Oh boy. It's everything that you expect. Now, if you have seen any of my videos on Old School Tactical, you know how much I love it. I'm not going to explain everything because we have done playthroughs, we have done explanations of this game, and I just want, for the person that hasn't seen this game, to give a nice overview, show you the beautiful map, the oversized counters, and all the great things that they do, and just kind of give you a nice feel for this. This is just, this collection I have of Old School Tactical is one of my favorites and will never leave my collection ever. I feel very strongly about the game, and I really enjoy it, and you'll see why, because we'll talk more about this on the other side. Let's go down and check it out. One of the hardest things about doing this is actually showing you the enormity of this board. I mean, it is just massive, and I'm trying to show you. This is map number 9 that comes in the latest version. So there's a ton of other maps here, and you can see everything that you need is in front of you. Victory points for both sides. Your impulse points are over here, and of course my cord's in the way, but don't worry about that. I'm just trying to move the camera around to kind of show you everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about everything right about here. As you can see, I tried to show you this beautiful map. It doesn't mean that you use the entirety of the map. There are going to be scenarios where you're going to map off certain areas with these map edges. You may just have a little fight right here, okay, depending on the scenarios. Which is one of the most neat things about this, is they give you this massive map, but you can fight it in sections, and of course you can fight over the entirety of the map on certain scenarios. The counters are oversized and absolutely beautiful. These are some of the best counters in gaming. I love the oversized, especially with my eyes. Me being as old as I am, as you can see, we have a sergeant there, and we got a lieutenant there, and we've got other units that we'll take a look at. For instance, here we have a rifle group here, the Italian rifle group, and of course, let me just pull another one out here, is we'll have the British rifle group, as you can see. and they're just done so well. On the other side is when they get reducted and hit and removed from the board. You have counters because as you use things, you are going to be able to put use to designate they have been used. Now, you heard me talk about impulse points, so we're going to talk about that in a little bit here. And one of the things that we want to talk about is the luck cards. Depending on the scenario, you are going to get one of these bad boys, and sometimes they work for you and sometimes they don't. It's just the way things go. Enemies get mired in the sticky mess. Mark any single enemy vehicle as bogged down. Now that can, you hold these cards away from each other, and then you could play this at any time, which is really, really cool. You're going to roll 2d6, and depending on the scenario, which I'm going to show you here, our playbook here, for instance, we're going to look at different scenarios, and you get with this a particular number, I believe it's 14 scenarios to start with this particular edition. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to have impulses, impulse points. So you are going to roll as 2d6 plus 1, and over here just 2d6. So as you can see, the British forces have an advantage here where the Italians don't. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll those two dice, and for instance, we'll just say the British are the black. Okay, so they got 11, and not bad, 9. Okay, but plus 1, so they've got 12. So they have an advantage here. What is going to happen is you are going to do certain actions with your units. You'll either move, fire, and such, and that'll reduce your impulse points, because each impulse counts as an action. Now you're going to go back and forth. Now as you go down, and maybe you only you use up a whole bunch of actions, and maybe you only have 4 impulse points, where the British there may have 8, you are allowed to pass. Okay, and once you've used all your impulse points, or just say, hey, you both pass, you will go to the next turn and you will roll again. Now the impulse acts as if different things. Supply lines get broken up, poor chain of command and such. And these are the things that are actually, that happen in war. And I really like the impulse points, because what that does is it makes you have to think. You may pass and let them get 2 or 3 turns, and you'll be able to determine what they're going to do. Or maybe you have a certain card that is going to help you, and say, okay, I'm going to let them go. Hopefully he's going to move that tank in area, and then boom, play a card, which will give you a little bit more things. Sometimes you pull those luck cards and they do nothing. Each unit is spelled out on a card, so you know what you're using, and you have everything in front of you, so you're not picking up the unit, looking at the unit every 5 seconds, and you could pretty much figure everything out. The newest rule book is also included here. As you can see, we have version 5.75, and this really has, just going through it and familiarized myself, not that I don't know the game, it's sometimes you just want to see if there were any changes, but it's probably one of the cleanest rule books. And I'll be honest with you, it's not a lot of pages, folks. You're going to be able to do this. One of the things I really love about this game, 25 pages, and it's a bigger caption here, as you can see, and you can really read this pretty quickly and get a feel for the game. It's spelled out very easy. And one of the things that I really love about this is that it's easy for anybody to get into old school tactical. It doesn't overcomplicate the rules, okay? It really doesn't. And that is just really, really, really a big thing. As you can see, they talk about each marker. So, we already talked about the impulse point markers, how they work. You're going to have leaders that you are going to have with your armor units. It explains how each unit, as you'll see with those particular cards, you'll have a firepower, okay, and then a range. So that range and then the firepower is what you're going to be using. You're going to be, that key number, firepower, is going to come in, and we'll talk about it. Your defense number, another number we're going to be talking about, and your actual movement. And of course, as we progress even farther here, you'll see that there is all kinds of different terrain and stuff. Tanks have a different way of figuring out things, but for the most part, it explains trenches, foxholes. A lot of this you will see in the other, and here we were talking about the terrain, the penalties for using that. So you may have a movement of 4, but you're going to run into different roads and terrain, and you're going to want to think these things out pretty well. Buildings and such, mortars, HMGs, and then of course morale. Okay, if you've got to make sure that you keep your company in good order, or they're being shaken. If they're broken, there'll be no move, no fire, so they're basically useless. Okay, so you're going to have those that you're going to run into. Shows you the arc with vehicles, how that's going to work, which is a really great thing. If you get bogged down or immobilized, you'll be using those. Of course, the most important part is fighting, okay? How you're going to go about that. And combat is very, very simple. And we're just going to talk about basic units here. It is going to be the attacker's firepower minus the defender's defense, and that's where you're going to come up with your attack firepower. Then you are going to roll 2d6 depending on if you're in infantry combat. For instance, we have a 2 or we have a 4 versus a 4, so it would be a 0. If they were behind cover or anything, this may shift in some ways, and then you're going to roll 2 dice. Let's just say that we were attacking and we roll 2 dice at a 0. Let's see what we get. We got a 6. So basically 6 at a 0 is an S, which I believe is a shaken, if I'm not 100%. Yes, shaken unit, -1 in any kind of melee or anything like that. Yeah, shaken. I was right. It's right along the side here. Sorry about that. X is destroyed. C is casualties. B is broken. And shaken. We saw the 2 tokens for that and what they'll do. If you're broken, you ain't doing nothing. Everything is really spelled out for you here, as far as wheel, track, foot, direction on drift, as far as mortars and stuff like that. And these it gives you the turn sequence. Like I said, your turn marker, you're going to move your turn marker, your any kind of reinforcement you got coming in. Attach leaders to weapons, smoke counters, scenario rolls. There are different types of scenario rolls that you're going to do. When you go to this playbook, each scenario is different and does different things. Okay, and it's really well put together, well thought out. Your gut check is your morale, so you want to make sure that you know that. And what you're going to do is you're going to play through it. You can play through a campaign, or you could just pick one out and decide where you want to start or play, depending on who you're playing with. And all the different scenarios are really interesting and historically accurate, of course, because it's Mark Walker, and that's the way he does things. One of my favorite games of all time, and just one that really sticks with me. Old School Tactical, Volume 4, the Italian Front. It goes with the Pacific and the Eastern and the Western. And just really, you have this just giant, unbelievable game that you can do so many things with. And this is just another fantastic quality and beautiful game. Let's go up top and get my final thoughts. So, the Italian theater 1943 to 1945 old school tactical, by a very good friend, and just a great designer. Okay, you take the friend part out of it. I loved this game before I even met Mark. But this is volume 4 here. You're going to want to pick this up. It's going to be at Miniature Market, so you want to make sure that you check it there, or go to Flying Pig Games website and order it. So now that I gave you that much, let me tell you why these games really mean a lot to me, and I get what they're trying to do. These games aren't made for that old school, 65 me, year old guy. Okay, those grognug or whatever the hell they call those idiots. Okay, it's not made for them. Okay. They can enjoy it and find a lot of time. This is a game that's made for everybody. And that's one of the things that I really love about this, is it is not an intimidating war game where it is going to push people away. It's going to pull people in, because it's a game that, if you want to play a war game and you've been, I don't know, or you've been to one of those conventions and you said, well, I want to check it out, and then, you get snubbed or anything, because, for the most part, there are good people in the wargaming community. There really are. And Mark's one of them, okay? But, if you have a grandkid or a son or a daughter that you want to do something with and teach them a little something about history, these are great games to do that with. And this is what I love so much about it, because there is that complexity, and that feel of a traditional war game where you could take many hours, but it also has that ease of learning that that's very open to everyone, and that anybody can play this. Okay, that. Wow, tanks. Okay, I would like to try that. Okay, you could teach this game in 15 minutes, and you're playing. You're not sitting there, and they will be able to manipulate those turns very easily. The charts are very easy to read. The rules are simple to find. This is why this is one of my favorite games. And when my grandson and granddaughter get older and maybe they have an interest in it, the first thing I pull out, and then listen, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of companies that do great war games, but the first company I'm going to pull out is anything from Flying Pig Games, because I know that they'll get it, and it is a gateway. It's kind of hard to say a gateway, but I feel that it's very welcoming to new players, but also has all the flair and history that an older player would enjoy. It really does bridge all those gaps, and it's just plain fun. Just plain fun. And isn't that all you care about, is having play fun? Such passion from this company. Always the quality, everything top notch. I mean, what more could you ask? I couldn't ask for more, and that's why I always will support this fantastic company, Flying Pig Games. They make some of the best games that you'll ever play. Until next time, it's your old pal Rob. Make sure you go check them out, and if you're interested in the original ones, go check it out also at Miniature Market, as they'll be carrying those as well, and you'll see some of the best quality and the best fun you'll ever have. Until next time, it's your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon, everybody.